Hey guys, welcome back to LoliCast. Shira here, and your co-host, Jemboy.
Hey, I am Jemboy. Welcome back, everyone.
Hello. We're back with episode 10 of LoliCast.
Episode 10.
Look at that. There's some consistent uploading now, only because we're mass recording these, which I should be doing more often. We just dedicate 1 or 2 days to a lot of recordings, and
it just feels more efficient.
It definitely. It's the same with Let's Players, like how the Game Grumps. Yeah, Jemboy said this before. Game Grumps records all their episodes in one day. All sessions, the one session lasts 7 hours, and they record as much as they can there. But other people, I don't know. I'm guessing PewDiePie. He just records whenever he has, whenever he feels like during the day, and only pre-records when he has to go out somewhere. But this definitely feels more fun. It feels we just need it feels we feel more prepared, and it's also all in one day. So right. But anyways, let's get into the question that we're here to ask you guys. And again, because these are pre-recorded, we don't have any audience questions right now, but we will get to them. So if you do have an audience question for us, leave them in the comment section below, and we will get to them in later podcasts, the ones that are not pre-recorded.
So we'll get right back to you guys before you know.
So for the question for the audience that we have to you, what are some of your guilty pleasures, or if you don't have any, what are some of your favorite genres / fetishes of porn or hentai? It may sound weird, but it's because it goes into our topic, so bear with us.
Okay.
So answer either or if you want, answer both. But Jemboy, what are some of your guilty pleasures, or what are some of your favorite genres of fetishes?
Pleasures or fetishes?
Yeah, either answer either or answer both, whatever you want.
I really like armpits. I don't know what it is about a nice, clean, shaven armpit. So I think the reason why I like to draw that arms up pose whenever I try to draw a sexy pose, my default is always that arms up pose. Yeah. So maybe it's because I just like armpits.
Do you have any idea why?
I don't know. Maybe it's the flexing of the muscle. Something about when I see the shoulders stretch back like that, tension. I don't know what it is. It's something about that anatomy.
Are you a muscle nut? Do you like fit girls? Do you like working out?
Perhaps. I don't like working out. Well, what about you? What are your guilty pleasures or fetishes?
I have
obviously lolis,
right? Obviously lolis, but I have no idea for what. I don't know my guilty pleasures. I just don't know. I'm not ashamed of most of the stuff I do. I like traps. Fuck you guys. I ain't ashamed to admit that. But some of my favorite genres or fetishes of porn or hentai. You already know I love lolis, but going to more specifics, I love a hego, and I love. And usually a hego comes paired up with mind break. And it's why do I like that? Because a hego translated into English means silly face, right? But it's such a display of emotion that confirms that they're enjoying, That's why I like it, because the confirmation.
It's the most extreme case, but
exactly.
Yeah, I get
the
you.
confirmation of emotion is shit. This shit's good. Because you can have the vanilla story where the girl's like, oh, I love you, and then she kind of blushes, and then they have the sexy time, and then it's oh, I love you. But if you fucking not vanilla, fucking ram that shit from behind, and she just boom, a hego, you're doing something right, or freaking that it's good because emotion, freaking the display of emotion. But like I said, these questions to you guys are connected to our topic.
It's such a stark difference between our answers. Mine felt more modest compared to yours. But yeah.
We're asking lewd questions, yo. People want lewd answers.
True. Okay, but yeah, well, what are we talking about today?
Alright, so our topic today is actually connected to hentai. So, we're gonna be talking about like our first contact with hentai and how it affected us and why we draw hentai.
Okay.
And so that's what we're gonna try and cover today. So I'll start off with the first question and I'll give it to you.
Yep.
Wait, I guess we already asked this question. It's what is your favorite genres or fetishes? And then you already answered why. But going on from that, because you already said you like armpits and you kind of gave the explanation of why you like armpits. Unless you want to expand on it.
I mean, that's just like one like very particular thing that I like. But like genres, I don't know actually.
Genres tags.
Because like I'm pretty like I'm pretty open to most kinds of hentai. Because like it's a cute girl, just getting banged. Hey.
Is there anything you specifically look other than armpits? Like, do you like big breasts?
Oh,
do you
well,
like
so like when I'm looking for porn, I don't specifically search for armpits. It's just like a thing that's there. It's like, hey, that's nice. I don't actually like specifically look for armpit pictures.
Yeah. So then, what are some of the things that you do look for? What do you think?
That's really tough actually, because I actually don't know. Because like, I guess I'm just like the general, like, hentai consumer. It's just like whatever's there. It's like, hey, that's hot.
So you don't prefer like if people ask you, are you a tits or an ass man? Do you prefer lolis or do you like prefer onechan type characters? Do you like milfs? You know, stuff like that. Whether it's porn or hentai.
No, I really don't have like a preference.
Oh wow.
I mean, if anything, I don't know, like teen. I don't fucking know.
Then why teen? Is it because they're cute or?
Probably just because they're younger.
And again, it doesn't have to be specifically porn.
But like on the other hand, I don't mind like watching like MILF stuff either. So
exactly.
I'm a very like general hentai consumer, I'd say.
So you're completely neutral. You're all inclusive.
Yes, give me everything.
So do you think that were you always a general type of hentai guy, or did you have specific things before? Like, were you different before? Were you specifically like this before, and you would only watch that?
No, I definitely never had like that specific of a taste. It's like porn is porn. like in my eyes, yeah. It's just whatever. I can jack to this.
Then what about scat porn and gore porn? You know?
Yo,
what about vor?
Bring me that. I'm not there yet.
For me then, you already know I like a hego, I like mind break, I like lolis too, and I like traps, I like whatever's cute and whatever evoke emotion.
Yeah.
But again, I do like the onencha figure, like once in a while. Again, it's whatever I'm feeling, but I do, even though I do place like lolis higher than most, sometimes it's like, oh, I feel like freaking an onencha type figure, like maybe or a MILF type figure, you know, fucking Cooking Mama, you know, she's hot.
Hey.
Exactly, right? But from before, I used to be nearly a strictly loli type hentai guy, because that's what I first got into. So I was like, this shit's the only shit, yo. This is my favorite. And then my horizons broadened. And I was like, you know, freaking, you know, lolis are also good, but you gotta give a chance to the onechan, the milfs, the traps, the whatever else is cute. Because I more boiled it down to like, why do I like lolis, you know? And then it was like, because they're cute, and so traps are basically the boy versions of lolis. So fucking traps are good. But then I started more broadening it to what else do I like other than just lolis, and then I got into the specific tags of a hego and
Wow.
and like mind break, but it was more of a hego. I'm like, I first saw it, I'm like, why do I like this so much more than like vanilla stories? Like why do I feel more satisfied? And then again, like freaking thinking it over and over, deep thought and research into porn and hentai, and I'm like, it's because of the emotion. So
that makes sense.
Right? Those were my favorite genres and what I was now versus before. But moving on, let's ask, when and how did you first discover hentai? What was the first hentai you came across, and when and how did you discover it?
My first, or like my earliest memory that I have of like hentai is my friend gave me like a disc. Like he burned a disc of just a bunch of doujins. So like that was like the first time I ever saw like hentai. They were just like a bunch of doujins, and the one that I remember the most was called Life is Peachy. And it was mostly loli stuff, but like it was still like hentai. It's like, whoa, this can happen.
Right?
But I think before that, the idea of like that a cartoon could be sexy was when like my cousin showed me like Love Hina.
Yeah,
like stuff like that. And then after that, there was actually a series that he showed me called Onegai Teacher. It was about some like, it was like this girl, she's like a alien teacher or something, and she has sex with one of her students. I don't know if I don't know the details, but it's like, whoa. Yeah, so this was maybe around like grade 6. Yeah.
Oh, wow. And when you discovered that, how did it like influence you, like personally / like drawing wise? Were you drawing by then?
Well, then, and I'll definitely kick my hormones into high gear.
Definitely.
And I'm pretty sure, like Love Hina at least would have like influenced me to try drawing like sexy girls, but I was bad at it. But
yeah,
like I still like wanted to try. Like I know it. So of course it definitely like had an influence on me. Oh yes, yeah. So around that time, so then I was making like my own stories and stuff.
Yeah.
So like after like the influence of Love Hina, I started making more sexier stories. But they were still stupid though. I don't want to share any of them, but yeah. Well, how about you? When did you first discover hentai?
I first discovered hentai maybe when I was around 10 years old, and I was in grade 4. Is that math correct? I don't know. But
that's about right.
The way I first discovered it was my brother was into anime and his friends were into anime, and then he showed me like my first hentai. He printed out a doujin. And so I looked at it and I was like, what the fuck is this shit? This is lit. This is like eye-popping. And again, like the idea of sexy characters never popped up in my mind before, except kind of with anime. And then it's like, I don't know, because always anime characters looked cuter, but then American cartoons always tried to make them look silly, and it's like, oh, funny characters. So then, it's like I was more attracted to the anime. But then I looked at this, I'm like, what the hell is this? This is the best. And I'm like, what is this called? I kept asking my brother, and he's like, it's called hentai. And I'm like, I know what I'm gonna be doing for freaking next like 4 years of my puberty.
Right.
But like I remember the what it was about too, and this is actually like the origins of like why I love lolis. it was a anime, or it was a doujin about some high school student like tied to a chair, and he's in like a dark room, and he's like, what's going on? And then these two other high school student girls like, we're gonna rape you or whatever the fuck, force sex on you because, you know, but first let's get you started. And then like two lolis, the cutest lolis I've ever seen, enter the room and then just start, they're like, they're of course the little sister type, they're like, what's going on?
Yeah.
What's this? And then they're like, yeah, just suck on him, and then boom, then starts sucking him off, and like, I didn't even care about the girls, yo. I was looking at the lolis 100%. I was like, whoa. And again, maybe it's because the lolis are young, and then I was young. I'm like, yo, I fucking love lolis. But that was my first experience with hentai, and which was my first experience with lolis. And so from that point on, I'm like, older girls. I love lolis. And so yeah, that's what kickstarted my freaking love for lolis. Like ever since that day, since I was 10, you know, lolis for life. And the way it influenced me, it was of course, 4 years of fucking non-stop, yo, show me that H, yo, let me see that hentai. And it definitely was one of the things that started a big influence for me to start drawing, because of course anime is like fun and the worlds are cool, and it's like I want to draw too, and I want to do that, and it looks so cool. But back in my mind, like the back of my mind, I was like, and I want to draw hentai. Don't forget that. That's like one of the first reasons why I started drawing, because that you can draw your own like sexy characters. Are you kidding me? I want to do that. So yeah, that's how it influenced me. One of the biggest kickstarts of why I started drawing. Sure. But since it was my introduction to like hard Japanese anime, I was like, this is what I want to do. This is what I want. But talking about like drawing wise, do you remember when the first time you tried to draw hentai for the first time?
I think a fully nude character, it wasn't until like years after that, because like I was still trying to draw like sexy girls but not fully nude ones. So I think like my fully nude character was like probably not to like high school, like grade 9. But yeah, before then I was still trying to draw sexy characters. Like I would draw like a girl in a towel. Like that would be like the most I would do.
Wow, that's so
I wasn't that good.
Do you remember like when you drew your first picture? Do you remember like specifically what did you try to draw, and how did it go? Like was it good? Was it bad? Or was it really, really bad?
Right. Okay, I remember this one where it was a girl getting banged from behind, but like the foreshortening was set up that like it was from the front, so you only saw her head, her arms, and her boobs. So like you didn't actually see like the penetration.
Yeah, but you're drawing two bodies in one picture? Oh,
yeah.
God damn.
Well, because like the only part of the guy you could see was like the head, his arms going down, and then his legs just lined up perfectly with the girl's legs. So, I had it like figured out that I didn't have to draw like the tough parts.
Damn, you found that out at such an early age. You'll hide them things you can't draw. You're a genius.
Yeah. I was actually pretty proud of that one. I want to see if I can like find it. Yeah.
You still have it? Damn.
Maybe. I don't know though.
That's crazy.
What about you? When was your first hentai drawing attempt?
Oh god. My first hentai attempt was maybe in the same year of the first time I was introduced to that doujin, because then it kickstarts me wanting to draw more, and everyone around me was drawing anime. But I wanted to learn how to draw anime properly, so then I could draw hentai. So then I'm like, I need to draw. So then I'm with my friends, like my age, we're like 10, 11, and I'm like, I'm gonna draw a sexy girl. And again, this is, remember, I'm like 10 years old, and this is in the same year that I just saw the freaking doujin. And so I'm like, guys, I'm gonna draw a sexy girl. Like, watch me. So I wanted to draw a girl lying on her back. her legs spread open wide, and like holding open her badge, right?
Yeah.
I drew the outline for her lying on her back and spreading her legs, but the foreshortening wasn't there, so it already looked really bad. My hair that I used was giant triangles for the strands, and I didn't know how to draw hair or make it look like a girl at all. The boobs were a sad attempt that I only drew, like, I tried to draw the outline of the boobs and it didn't even look that great, so I didn't continue it. The face had the rectangular eyes and stiff ass nose and smile.
Yeah.
And then I drew the hands going towards the badge, and I tried to draw the badge, and it turned out so bad. It wasn't even placed properly. None of the anatomy made sense. Freaking.
Yeah.
I drew that freaking like leaf shape.
Yeah.
And it didn't even align with the hands or the fingers, and I'm like, this is stupid. and everyone's like, yeah, this doesn't look right. And so I was also like, yo, let's get rid of this. This is stupid. This is dumb. And then so I tried to get rid of it, but I was scared that people might find it. So I like ripped it up, crumpled it, and then threw it in the garbage instead of just throwing it in the garbage. And that was my first attempt at drawing hentai. Ew. I was sad. I was like, I can't draw hentai. God damn it! I really wanted to. The idea is in my head, but I can't translate it on paper.
Struggle.
Right? Oh, but that just led me on the path to drawing more hentai. It was a good step that I knew my limitations, and then I knew I had to learn how to draw anime first.
Especially with hentai drawings, because like I feel like you like super want it to be perfect. It's like even more with hentai. I don't know what it is. It's just because like the imagination and like your hormones are just like working in tandem. So like it's just like super clear what you want to draw, but you just can't draw.
Right?
It's like worse with hentai for some reason.
Right? I felt so bad.
Yeah.
It's like you're an art. Like right now, like if you try to draw on paper with your left hand, you're like, I know what's in my head, but I can't translate it with my left hand because I don't know how to function my goddamn left hand. Oh man. But going off of that, from our first attempt at hentai, but now, when did you start drawing it regularly?
So, again, I didn't draw like my first like I didn't get into like drawing a fully nude character till like regularly till maybe like grade 11, like close to end of high school basically.
Yeah.
But I was still drawing like sexy characters, and the stories I was coming up with were just more. I was just trying to fit as much ecchi as I could.
You're coming up with stories for your hentai, damn dude. I was just trying to draw hentai.
No, I was just like coming up with character ideas where I could just have like unnecessary sexy stuff. So like, I remember this one series. It was like a fantasy series. It was about like in this world, you had like these swords, where like if you killed something with it, you would capture its spirit inside of the blade. Yeah. And then you could summon them. Yeah. So this series is called Fury Blade. I thought it was so cool. But like, I had this one character who joins their group, where all her clothes get stolen. And so like, for the whole series, she's just walking around with a towel.
A towel.
But like she's still like fighting with like a sword and stuff. Yeah. So like, I just kept throwing in stupid characters like that just for the sexy stuff.
A fucking like, towel.
That was dumb.
Shit.
Yeah.
That's some shit stuff.
But I didn't get like really comfortable drawing like a nude character till like, grade 11, grade 12, like end of high school. Yeah.
Damn, dude. Again. And when you started drawing it regularly, do you know how you learned how to draw it? And, like, what were your influences and references when you started drawing it more and more?
Because back then I was very like stubborn. I didn't want to use references, so I was just drawing like just from imagination.
Mm-hmm.
But there were probably like a few references here and there, but for the most part, I just didn't want to look up a reference because I thought that was cheating.
Oh, I was totally the same thing.
Yeah. But
yeah,
How did I learn how to draw hentai?
Yeah, people that say, yeah, I traced over this, or I freaking copied this image. I was like, what are you doing? You're not making original content. Like,
yeah.
You're gonna shove that shit in your face?
I will say that when I was like more comfortable with drawing it, then like I use porn a lot for like my hentai references. So yeah, so somewhere down the line that came about. But yeah, for the most part, I was just too stubborn and just wasn't using references.
Yeah.
There may have been like pictures that I saw on the internet that I really liked, and then hey, let's try copying that.
Oh, definitely.
That's it. I think another big influence for how I got into like hentai stuff was like Newgrounds hentai games.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, that was a really big one. So like Ganguro Girl.
I was playing Sexkin, I think that's what it called.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah, I played 1 to 6 still.
Hey. So how about you? When did you start drawing it regularly?
So I started picking it up more again around like high school, throughout high school, or in the first 2 years of high school, I should say, or the first year and a half. The first year and a half, I was strictly doing it on pencil and paper, and so I was still like trying to learn, like, oh, how do I do this, blah 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 blah. But then I got a digital tablet, and then that's when I started going into digital art, and because I knew from the beginning that I wanted to learn digital art, not just traditional. So the moment I started doing more digital art and I got better and better at it, that's when I started like, hey, I kind of have a decent understanding of drawing. I'm gonna draw all the hentai now. But all of it was just like nude lolis, basically. Like nothing. I never drew penetration because I didn't know how. It's like, how the hell do I draw a dick? I don't know how to draw a dick. So, freaking, it was always a lone solo character that was just nude, and it was always a loli because I was just drawing lolis back then. I may have attempted like once or twice to do breasts, but it didn't turn out well, and I didn't like it. And I was like, how the hell do I do an adult body? Because I put all my research into doing loli proportions. So like that's when. So I did that from like half of the second year of high school all the way to the end of high school.
Okay.
And basically, where I learned to draw hentai for my influences and references, it's basically the same as you. Sometimes I see a picture online, I'm like, yo, I need to draw that. That character is sick, or I like that pose, and you already know it's all hentai. So then I'm like, I'm gonna try and copy that. But yeah, before that, I was stubborn. Like I was stubborn too. I was like, I don't want to use guidelines. I want to draw it direct. I want to draw it right away because I don't need to draw a circle and then erase a circle. Why would I waste my time doing that? And I didn't want to trace, I didn't want to copy, but eventually I started using guidelines because I learned that I actually do need to use guidelines. I started copying poses because I needed to learn like the pose, like why is the pose like this? I need to learn this, and then that's when I started using guidelines to deconstruct poses, and then I never really did use porn like from Pornhub or something like that. It was always just pictures that I found, or how to draw tutorials on DeviantArt. But any other like easy pose that I couldn't find a picture of, I literally just posed in the mirror. Like if I need to do a stretching pose, a yawning pose, I just look in the mirror and I'm like, oh, I do that. I'm like, oh, okay, I do that. Because I remember this one time, I was like in the shower and I was about to take a shower, so I was undressing and I had my hoodie on, and then I was just like taking off my underwear, and then I looked in the mirror and I was like, whoa, my hoodie is perfectly hanging down to block my private parts. So then I'm like, that's a genius pose.
That's gay.
Right? It was genius. I was like,
Yeah, makes sense.
a loli pose like that, I can draw that. And then yeah, like right after my shower, I started drawing that pose of like what I did. I'm like, and with the hoodie obviously. And then I was like, oh, that was sick. Sometimes yeah, I just look in the mirror. I'm like, what if I do this pose? What if I do this pose? Like, oh, that one looks good. And then, oh, what if I do this with that? It's like, oh, that looks sick. So then, yeah, those were like my references. Just online like tutorials on like DA or actual H pictures, or even just looking in the mirror. Like, oh, now I try to just come up with everything from imagination now. Now that I have a basic understanding, so I'm like, oh, I don't know this pose, but I'm not gonna do it in stand in mirror anymore, because I'm like, I can piece that together.
Yeah, true.
I know where the elbow joint, shoulder joint, wrist joint is, how it's supposed to bend, whatever. So I can draw, so I don't need a reference.
That's interesting, because like you're like the opposite of me. So like before you would use like a picture and stuff, but then for me, before I just wouldn't touch a reference, but now I use references for like my hentai drawings. But then for you, you'd rather just try to draw it. That's interesting.
Because I do want to like add my own flair to it, so I try to.
Yeah, sure.
If I don't know something, then I'll look it up, and then I'll be like, okay, so this is how it looks at this angle, and this angle, and then I just keep that in my mind, and then I try to draw my version of this angle, this angle.
Yeah.
And I keep that stored. Right. So that was like how we drew hentai when we started drawing it regularly back then. But what about now? Do you still draw hentai today? And how regularly do you draw it? Like, did you draw it more before or now? If you do still draw hentai?
I definitely draw more now, just because like I'm more comfortable. But I don't draw a lot of like sex scenes yet. So it's mostly just like nude girls. That's it. I can draw nice dicks now. I will say, like, humble brag, but pretty good at drawing dicks, just saying. But yeah, it's mostly just like nude girls. I don't draw it regularly actually, but I definitely draw it like a lot more than like before. It's like before I was definitely like a lot more scared to draw this kind of stuff, but now it's just like, yeah, I feel like drawing some real 34. Yeah.
And when you draw,
how about you?
Oh yeah.
How regularly like do you draw like hentai and stuff?
Again, like you said before, we're the complete opposite. I used to draw hentai all the time back then, and because my style was so simple and I wasn't afraid, so then I'm like, yeah, I want to try to draw this. And I'm like, oh, okay, I want to draw this now. Oh, okay, it looks good, it's good. And then, but then later on, currently, since I still draw hentai, I draw it way less, because just drawing already takes so much time and so it's stressful for me. So I'm like, do I have to draw a picture? Or let's make it ecchi, and then I'll take so long. Like, if I'll definitely say I had more fun drawing back then, because it was so quick to finish a picture. It was so quick to draw something. But now I still think it's fun, but it's still like, it's more way stressful, and so I'm not gonna be like, I'm gonna draw hentai and then spend a whole day drawing one picture. I'm like, okay, that was fun, let's do another one right now. No, I can't do that. I need like breaks. I need to take a very, very long break between each picture. I need to unwind, de-stress.
See, I would think it's because like you value like the realism a lot more. So, and you love like drawing skin and shading flesh.
Yeah, I definitely I love drawing skin and shading skin.
It's like of high importance to you, so because of that, you rarely draw hentai. Interesting.
And another hard part about drawing hentai, if a character's nude, that's so easy. It's so easy for me to draw. But when they wear any bit of clothing, because I like to draw a shade skin like really nicely, and I feel like it's one of my best things that I can shade. Now I need to learn what's the material of latex, what's the material of freaking spandex, what's the material of just cotton, and how do I make it look real, and how do I make it look just as good as my skin shading, because you can tell I put effort in there, so I better put effort in trying to mimic this material too. And so yeah, it's freaking hard when they have clothing. So again, it's easier if it's completely new. All right, but
no complaints.
Right, but when you draw hentai, what do you prefer to draw?
What do I prefer to draw? Ooh. Okay, so most of my hentai drawings are usually just like pinups of nude girls, basically. So like just imagine like they'd be on like the cover of like a Playboy magazine, like that kind of stuff. So it's like simple poses, but like they're obviously like posing for a camera. So like I rarely draw like actual like sex scenes.
Yeah. Ooh, really?
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I'm probably the same as you. I don't draw a lot of sex scenes. I think drawing penetration is one of my weakest things because I just haven't drawn it a lot.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's usually just like a nude girl, just a solo nude girl, and she's either standing or she's doing something. It's whatever. It's like it's a nude girl, but there's always like no penetration. So that's usually, and again, it's usually lolis, but
yeah.
sometimes like lately I've been trying to expand my horizons of how to draw other things. So I learned how to draw furries, and I'm like, oh, okay, and I learned how to draw breasts, like adult bodies. It's like okay. I'm learning more and more things. So, all right, for the go on.
So like I can draw like a full like penetration sex scene, but like that's when I would like look on like Pornhub for like a ref.
Yeah.
But like it's usually not I want to draw this pose. So like I'll usually just like watch like a video or something and then just like screen cap like one part. It's like, oh, I like this pose. Let me try to draw that. It's like I'll draw it exactly how it is and then basically just change like the character's head, right? Like I usually never like come up with my own stuff. Yeah.
I always try to come up with my own stuff.
Yeah.
All right. To wrap this LoliCast up, let's ask the real question, the final question, the question that really matters. Yeah. Why do you draw hentai?
Ooh. I always think that hentai is like the pinnacle of like anatomy drawing. Because like it's like you have to draw like two bodies like interlinked, so like interacting with each other, and then you have to keep note of like the anatomy, like their pose and stuff. So like there's a lot of things that come together. So I've heard that to apply for like Disney, your portfolio has to include like porn drawings. because they want to know if you can like draw like a body in motion, basically.
Yeah.
I hear that your portfolio needs like porn to apply to Disney. That's what I hear. Yeah.
That's pretty interesting.
And why else do I draw hentai?
Yeah.
Oh, it's because I can.
Because I can. Damn, dude. That's the truest answer. That's the truest answer.
I'm just being honest.
But for me, why do I draw hentai? Of course, because I can too, but because it is what inspired me to draw in the first place, and that is near the pinnacle of what I want to draw and what I want to reach.
Yeah, true.
And also it's like drawing hentai actually helped my drawing so much.
Oh, like, yeah, for sure.
Like it actually, like whether it was being whether it's poses or anything else, what it really did help. What it really did help was body figure. You don't learn the curvatures of bodies by drawing clothes on top of them. So that's why I'm like, I've always been interested in anatomy, and if you're gonna draw anatomy, you need to draw a naked character. And so, as I drew more hentai, I learned more anatomy, and I learned more muscle, and it was really nice because I drew my characters naked, I was learning also how to shade skin, and that's why I feel like that the best thing about my style is me shading my skin. And so, again, that's why I draw hentai, because it really did help my style. I feel like it's fun to draw. It shows. It's easy. It seems close to realism if you can draw someone naked, because it, freaking every art class is like, oh, draw these figure drawings, or
exactly,
do this. They're always naked. So,
like, at the end of the day, it's still drawing. Like, it's anatomy, it's proportions, it's still life. but I guess like what really gets me is the details of the body, because I feel like if I can understand and draw the details of the body, it looks more realistic. Yeah,
and
for sure.
The details of the body is always set in stone. I feel like, because if I draw a hoodie, it can wrinkle in any goddamn type of way.
Yeah.
But abdominal muscles will always like have that certain shape and have that certain thing, and that's why I like it. And fucking lastly, because hentai is fucking awesome.
All right.
But since that's my final answer, and I think that go on.
Again, with a lot of these topics, they're just like for fun. You don't have to know how to draw hentai to be a good artist.
Yeah, I'm not saying like draw hentai so then you learn anatomy. I'm just saying drawing hentai was, and the side effect of drawing hentai was learning anatomy. That's like how I see. That's how I view it.
It's just another avenue of art to explore if that's what you're into. Otherwise, if you don't, or if it's not your thing at all, then that's totally cool too.
Right? But I'm saying, if you see a sexy cartoon character and you're like, where's the point of that? Why search up porn when you can draw your own porn? I'm just saying. But that should wrap it up. Wait, go on.
That's actually an interesting point you bring up, though. Do you jack it to your own drawings?
I've been asked this a lot, and I know you've been asked this a lot, but I have, but not really, because again, this is what I always say when I look at my pictures, any of my ecchi pictures, I'm like, hey, that's kind of good. but it's like, hey, okay, it's kind of sexy, that's kind of good. But then when I think about it and I look even deeper, I'm like, all I can see and remember is the 12, 17 hours that it took to draw the pictures, the struggles that I went through. I'm looking at the character, and then I look at like her left arm, and I'm like, oh, I could have done that better. I look at like the shading on her chest, I'm like, oh my god, like that. I remember that gave me a fucking kicked my ass. So I definitely
That's why you enjoy in the splendors of your hard work.
So I definitely have, not that much, but it was.
I totally get you.
It was definitely like kind of forcing myself, because I'm like, this is hot, right? This is hot. I should enjoy this, right? But all I can see is the blood, sweat, and tears. But how about you? Do you jack it to your work?
It's me. Sometimes like it'll end up. Sometimes like I'll be like really proud of the drawing. It's like, yo, this looks good. But I don't. But I will say there were like 2 occasions where I did.
Yeah, same. Right.
And I'll leave it at that.
All right, just leaving it at that. We're ending this LoliCast here. No more secret questions, no more interruptions. But thanks, guys, for watching episode 10 of LoliCast. Yeah. I hope you enjoyed us talking about our fetishes and porn and and why we
don't mind us being a bit more open on this one. But yeah.
But any questions, any thoughts, leave it in the comment section below. And thanks for listening, guys. And once again, this is Shira and
I am Jemboy.
And we're signing off.
See you guys later. Peace.